Welcome into Rogue Football. I'm your host, Jordan DeLugo. Thanks so much for tuning in here today. We are getting into my top 50 big board, first top 50 big board reveal of the 2024 draft cycle here on the channel. Looking at this board, after like the top 7 players, there is no separation for me. Almost no separation between these guys down to like 26, even beyond that. Like, this is such a fun, talented class. And the most important takeaway, in my opinion, from this top 50 for me, if your team lands any one of these guys, you should be fired up, even into the 30s. Like, just fantastic prospects that in different classes, you know, some of these guys in the late 20s, 30s, even 40s, guys that would probably be top 20 prospects for me. There are just guys in this class that are in the 30s and the 40s that I know will go higher. Some that will go lower as well, certainly. But I think this is such a solid class, such a solid top 50. I'm really impressed. And I know that a lot of people talk about the depth of this class. Might not be the deepest class in the world. You don't have as many underclassmen thanks to NIL. There's a lot of different situations that have gone on, like with COVID as well. Still got guys going back to school from that situation. But I think this is a fantastic class. I'm really excited about really into the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. I think there's going to be a lot of standout players and maybe even beyond that. And I talked about the guys beyond the top 7 there. The top 7, they're all pretty much blue chip guys for me. And really the top 10 is close to blue chip. Really good prospects. I think prospects that in a given class maybe could be number 1. All of these guys in the top 10. I really do believe that. I think where you stand out initially here is these blue chip receivers, 3 of them, right? Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze. All of these guys have tremendous skill sets, and Marvin Harrison is at number 1, obviously. But like I said, Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, I think either of these guys in a different class could be wide receiver 1, could be one of the top players on the board. They are among the top players on my board. So this is an incredible class. Neighbors to me is the most explosive guy in terms of just his ability to separate. Rome Odunze has a complete skill set. He's big, strong, fast, physical, nuanced route runner. Marvin Harrison Jr. brings everything to the table you could be looking for. Then you also have a center prospect in Jackson Powers Johnson here at the top. I think he's just got it all. He doesn't have insane length, but at center you don't need insane length. He has over 32-inch arms and a guy that has everything else you would look for. Incredible size, over 330 pounds, powerful, tremendous anchor, tremendous recovery, right? Every time he gets in a compromising situation, he's able to get himself out of it. He is a great mover at 330 plus pounds, a guy that can get out in space, 2nd level, 3rd level, way down the field. He can get the job done for you in the screen game, in the running game. This is just a complete center prospect for me, a guy that I think is going to be a potential all-pro type of player at center very early on in his career. Like I said, I love this draft class. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round, huge fan. At some positions like running back, cornerback, wide receiver, there's loads of depth even beyond that, in my opinion. Talking about some of these other players here, though, in the top 25, top 24 here, I think Dallas Turner probably needs to be higher. But I just love all these guys so much. And again, so little separation. From the middle of the 1st round, beyond the top 7, top 10, down into the 30s. Such good players. And for me, the reason Dallas Turner, I say, should be higher is because if he hits, like if he does develop his pass rush toolbox and gets more consistent in that regard, he could be one of the best players in this class because he has great length. He has great athleticism. He's a fluid athlete in terms of being able to drop into coverage. He sets the edge very well at his size. And then you develop that pass rush skill set. That's a complete player right there. And a guy that could have all-pro potential. You could also probably see Terrion Arnold should be higher on here too. But again, there's no separation with these guys in the teens for me. It's pick your flavor, really. It's pick what you need. And so many impressive guys. You look at Talise Fuaga. He's a 1st-round tackle for me. But if you draft him to play guard, another guy like Jackson Powers Johnson, I think that could be an all-pro early. The reason I don't see him as a potential all-pro tackle is because I don't think he's ever going to be an elite pass protector at tackle. He has the pass sets down, and he has the technical refinement with his hands. What you don't see, though, is the quick feet, the ability to redirect at an extremely high level. I think that the many super talented edge rushers in the NFL are going to give him fits. And yeah, like he did really good against Leatu Latu. We're going to talk about Leatu Latu. I'm not quite as high on him as a lot of people are right now. But where do I put Tullis Fuaga? Because again, I think he's like a borderline blue chip player if you draft him as a guard. I think he's a first rounder if you draft him as a tackle. So I have him closer to where I would have him at guard on my big board. But that really is kind of dependent on who drafts him and what they ask him to do. I have Chop Robinson pretty high, a lot higher than most people. I don't think there's a better pure pass rusher in this class. Like, as an edge rusher, I don't think there's anyone who has the potential to have more impact on the quarterback in this class. And I know he's not going to have the longest arms, but he has the most explosive get off. He has the best bend. Like, he can get to the top of the arc in a flash. He can bend. He can absolutely run through the top of that arc and get to the quarterback in a flash. He's such a fun pass rush prospect. And then he also has the ability to run through you and to knife inside. So I think that Chop Robinson can beat you three different ways with his edge rush, pass rush arsenal. And he's got some advanced hand usage as well now. So you just want to see him develop as a run defender, but a guy who's playing 3-4 outside linebacker, I think he can do that at an extremely high level. And again, I think he has the highest upside as a pure pass rusher, as someone who I think could go get 15, 20 sacks in a season, right? Talking about Leatu Latu, I love him. He's going to be very good for whoever drafts him. But I'm just seeing, 2-year projection down the road. Most of these guys that I have higher than him, I think are going to be better than him as they develop. He doesn't have the longest arms. He's not super powerful or explosive. I don't know how impactful he's going to be against the run. If he tests better than I expect, maybe I revisit this. And I could maybe move him back up into the late teens. That's the type of movement we're talking about here, not usually anything too crazy. But again, the biggest aspect for him of this whole thing is the medicals. He had to medically retire a couple years ago. He's been healthy since. He's looked great. He's the most technically refined pass rusher in this class. I love him. But a guy that, maybe in a different class, he would be close to the top 10 for me. But there's not a lot of separation here. Roman Wilson. I'm a lot higher on Roman Wilson than most folks. Dynamic 3-level threat for me. Tough as nails. Catches everything. He's a guy that I think is virtually uncoverable as a slot/Z receiver. Yeah, he's not an X. But if you draft him for that role, to be a inside-outside versatile guy, playing slot, playing Z, he's going to bring it every single play. He's going to bust his ass run blocking. He's never going to be the strongest. He's never going to be the biggest. But he's 5'11", $186. He ain't tiny for today's NFL. He's got great speed, according to the Freaks list, 4.37 speed, a short shuttle that would set the modern record, 3-cone that would set the modern record. I think Roman Wilson is a fantastic prospect. Renardo Green, another guy, way higher on him than most people apparently. I don't see anyone talking about him in the second round. This is a press man corner extraordinaire, physical but controlled, aggressive but patient when he needs to be. Great athlete, super fluid mover. I think he's going to come in and be able to start from day one as a press man corner and do it at an extremely high level. And he just brings that nastiness, that physicality, that edge you want from a press man corner. Looking at Darius Robinson, maybe the biggest riser that we've seen. Definitely Adisa Isaac is another riser. Darius Robinson, though, he's a wrecking ball with strength, with length, a pass rush plan, a pass rush arsenal, can defend the run. Missouri put him out there at edge this year, and he flourished. And I think he's a guy that you can certainly move around in pass rushing situations, have him rush from the interior, use his quickness, the arm overs, the swims, get in the backfield in a flash. Talk about Brian Thomas Jr., who I just know is going to go in the first round, probably in the top 20. But I haven't seen the route tree. I haven't seen the consistency attacking the ball, the consistent effort when he's not a primary target, blocking. The sky is the limit, no doubt about it, for Brian Thomas Jr. And in a different class, maybe I would have him closer to top 15. And I know he's going to blow the doors off the combine. He's going to be explosive. He's going to leap. He's going to run fast. 6'4", over 200 pounds. I really love him. Don't get me wrong. But again, there's just so little separation for me with many of these guys in the top 50. Love him, but hard for me to get him higher on my board when I know the limitations. I would love to see him in those receiver drills and at the combine, running the gauntlet, doing some of those things. How natural does that look? I think that'll be something to watch for him, certainly, because he's got all the physical athleticism you could ask for. No Tyler Guyton for me up here in the top 50. No Tavondre Sweat. Both are right on the edge for me. They're close. Tyler Guyton, I just don't see any refinement. Even at the Senior Bowl, when guys are talking about him dominating, he was letting guys get into his body. And yeah, you can do that at the college level because you're 6'7", 330 pounds, great length, great strength, great athleticism. But you can't do that at the NFL level against some of the best edge rushers. You're gonna end up losing reps. So I think he's a guy that needs development. No Tavondre Sweat. Look, he showed up at the Senior Bowl and didn't weigh in. He was listed at 360 pounds at Texas. To me, that means he was more. And you just don't see a lot of guys with that outlier type of weight that are A, able to play a whole lot of snaps, and B, successful in the NFL. But yeah, you see him, he's a wrecking ball. Guys can't block him, So both of those guys are right there on the edge for me. I think Tavondre Sweat, when on the field, fully energized, yeah, he's going to make an impact. How often will that be? What's the weight situation? And if there's a weight problem, where's the dedication? How high are we on his, dedication to the game, right? So we'll see how that plays out. A few safeties right there on the edge for me that did not make the top 50, Tyler Nubin, Cameron Kitchens, good football players. A lot of players that, aren't in this top 50 that are super close to being there. And I think there will be movement throughout the rest of the process because I have all these guys so close in my rankings, so close in my evaluation, a lot of them. There will be movement when it comes to what we see at the combine and throughout the rest of this draft process. So I can't wait to see what happens. Obviously the combine is coming up soon. You're going to have pro days as well. It's going to be really fun to watch to see how it all goes down. And then the draft at the end of April. Cannot wait for it. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Y'all have a good one.